So unless you want to record us like playing, Call of Duty.
Sure. Maybe we'll get some fans.
Well, people. Can we tell how many people are observing the meeting?
We can also see the one watching. So if you put it up on your phone, and I sometimes do that just to check if things are working, you'll see that that's a live count. So the one watching is truly recorded.
All right. The last meeting was 13 people or something. So the time is 6:02, and I call the August 9th Board of Selectmen meeting to order. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Citizens' comments? You have none? Approval of the minutes?
I believe it, I move to approve.
I abstain, I was not here.
All right, so I will second the approval of the minutes from July 26th. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, there. Correspondence and announcements.
I don't see a big stack in front of you.
So board and committee reports, the creation of a building committee. All right, so this,
This is one from Adam.
yes, he was planning on coming here today, but he's feeling under the weather, so he sent a letter. I don't think I brought that in. Yeah, I sent you it. Oh, there it is. Okay, everyone's got one. I got one too. So you can see it in front of you.
Yeah, I read it earlier.
He is requesting that we set up a building committee to start the process of reviewing a number of projects that the school has placed on hold. They can proceed with a reimbursement of $102,911 from the oil tank replacement project from the Department of Education. And he would like us to set up a plan. I appreciate that. So the building committee members would be Jack Wessa, John Milovich, Jim McBride, Brian Callio, Kate Willipart, and Adam Burrows would be the ad hoc member, the one I can't So they have, yes, that's it. As an exit here. So they want to use the building committee to work on some projects, which would include the asbestos abatement in an older hallway with the removal of tiles and old rug, video surveillance upgrades, and a plan of action for the AC in the gym. So the committee would work on the prices of all these and then would approach the town to ask for the money that is turned in for this project.
I second the motion to create the school building committee.
Okay, so the motion's been made and seconded to just create the school building committee. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, so the building committee has been established, and now we're going to appoint the members. We have a motion to appoint
I make
Jack
a motion
Wessa.
to appoint the members as listed.
Okay, so the members would be, second. So we have a motion and a second to appoint the following members to the building committee. Jack Wessa, Ron Milovich, Jim McBride, Brian Callio, Kate Wolfurlon, like I said, my last name, and Adam Burrows as the ex officio.
It must be said with an Italian accent. That's right.
Any discussion on that? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, hearing none. Approved, they're approved.
And did they say Tuesday mornings they were gonna meet?
Oh, yeah, he wanted to meet in the morning. There's the committee, finance report. I sent you a copy, you should have it, so Tony and I submitted, I don't know, synopsis of what's going on. The 21-22, the next audit starts in September for the town. They're working on the transfer station right now. I've sent them everything electronically so far. I can open it up when they come here in September. This budget year so far, just the first month, so there's nothing really to talk about for that.
Plenty of time for things to go wrong.
But no
But
surprise.
but when was the last time things went really wrong? It's been a long time.
Usually it's the first month that you find out everything that's not included, but so far it's been okay. Some of the things we're working on though is, the town's, been under 50 employees. So there's certain criteria when you go over 50 employees, so we're just trying to figure out what those criteria are. Different stuff from different, depending on who you are. So one of the requirements is if you're 50 full-time members, the insurance changes, but we're not full-time. Most of ours are per diem or. Well, once you're over 50 full-time employees, all 50 have to have insurance. So we're not 50 full-time or 50 full-time equivalents. That's another terminology for it, which means certain amount of hours divided by how many hours.
If we had 50 times 40 hours per week.
So say somebody works, so you have 10 employees that work 20 hours, if there's a formula they use, and that's going to be equivalent to 5 full-time. So there's different calculations, but we're nowhere near that, so we don't have to worry about the insurance piece. But there are other criteria. Over 50 employees require certain training, HR things, just to have more policies, and I think this is something we need to firm up anyway, just strict policies on each job, benefits, all that kind of stuff needs to be very clear and spelled out. I think it really all follows the Title VI plan, a lot of the requirements we need, so I think once you have that in place anyways, we're gonna already be all set for going over the 50, so, the other part of it is over 50 per pay period. So we have like 45 employees, but we only pay an average 30 pay period. So we're still actually way below them. What we actually, so I think we'll be fine if they need more, for the fire department, that kind of thing, which we didn't then worry about. So I don't think it's something we're gonna have to, but we do have to worry about more policies in place. That's our big thing we need to work on.
So that if we do hit the magic 50, we're already set and we're not scrambling to get it done in a week.
And the HR is something that really is the most important. So, the other thing is, so one part of the capital project plan was the new laptop for the town hall, so we received some laptops and docking stations. We received the laptops, not the docking station. Once we get that, it's gonna be part of the cybersecurity policy we need to have. Close the loop where everybody works on just the town laptop. A lot of people are, remoting in from their own laptops because they don't have one. That's where you get into trouble where, where the network is compromised because people are, coming in from home. So with the new laptop, that's pretty much start that loop where we can kind of, the only way you can come in. So the other piece is email. Everybody logs in from the email from other devices. So I don't know how that's affected any.
That's not on our network.
It's just on the.
So if you're accessing email on your phone or you're accessing Outlook or O365 at home, that's not on our network. That's in the cloud. So that's removed from us. So
One of the other issues the ATEC had for us when we were working with the cyber policy is
Sorry, that's just a hard one.
A lot of things call for two-factor identification, which is helpful. Most people don't, very few people have work cell phone. So the only way to enable two-factor, multi-factor identification, which is part of the cyber they want to have from the cyber policy, is people have to use their own personal cell phone. So there may have to be some kind of policy or discussion on what happens there.
Yep. That's an easy policy to write, and it's easy to set
He's worked at some towns where some people refuse to. So that's,
Conditions of employment.
yeah, it's just something that probably may not be a big deal, but it's just something that we were. So
Yeah, it's, in order to do it, they have to install an app on their phone, and you can make it.
There was other, yeah,
condition of
you said
employment.
something, there's something they could do, but I can't remember.
Okay.
This is all part of the cybersecurity insurance. It's going on crazy, so the more stuff we have in place, this is the insurance. Yeah,
And there's the
Doesn't know what
justification
goes
for
down.
making it.
yeah.
It's gonna go away before it goes down.
So both Tony and I, submitted our report. Just give you a little synopsis. We did some training to learn some of the Board of Ed, aspects of finance. We all went through a training together. The other thing he's found that there's some funds owed to Allentown and the Board of Ed on the state claim portal. So he's put in for it.
Is it $5 or is it $5,000?
We don't know. He's having trouble getting the email from the state, it keeps getting kicked out, so that's the other thing I just did. He's working on that, so I don't know if we're what road, but it might be a little bit.
It probably is like,
Probably is.
I had money on there, and it was like $1.25.
And then the last thing is we were working with citizens to try to work with some of the security issues on the banking end and doing positive pay, positive pay to implement that so that anytime anything is deposited into the checking account, it's automatically matched to what we say should be there, and anything else gets kicked out and flagged right away.
Okay.
So we know that it's just a cool right away.
Yeah, it's better protection for us.
How does the alert go? Does it go to an email address?
I think so. An email. It depends on how you set it up. Well, I think right now, if you can set up an email, you get an email right away that something is just positive that doesn't match up to the file. Because that's how they do it. They deposit 50 cents into your account, and if nobody pays attention to it, that's how they get access. They get approved for there, and now they're approved for there. Next thing you know, they want to turn that.
So, in the budget, it looks like, we're almost $345,000 over revenue. Is that enough?
No.
Goes into the general fund?
Yep. So that's the, so most of that was, we were way up. We had 50 grand extra in the pilot that they didn't tell us last year. We didn't find out until after we did our budget. So that's been accounted for in the next budget year. Permits were up. I mean, people were building.
Like crazy.
Yeah, so we could really go on there. And then another part is the, tax collector. Did a great job collecting.
Yeah, a lot of it was back taxes.
Does she know how much is still yet in the rooms?
She probably does. I don't know that figure, but I'm sure she did.
Do we want to get a report for next meeting? Just almost that answer.
Yeah.
Because I'm wondering, because we had the tax deferment. Right, the COVID deferment last year, and how much of that was caught up on. So I wonder if that was a big chunk of it.
There's quite a few of state properties, I think, who got paid off that.
Yeah.
She's been working really hard on
No, private property.
Private property.
Tax, but she's been getting the water payments on her.
one of them was sold, so all the back taxes.
more than once.
Hello.
Hey, where do I go here to vote?
At the school.
Oh, it's at the school?
Yep.
Thank you for
Thank
voting.
you.
No problem, thank you.
Yep. Okay, any more questions for Julie? Full business, ARPA funds update. So there's a list that Julie got for us for the ARPA funds. What we have allocated. Still waiting to hear from for the quote on the radio. The town planner we've allocated. Public health we allocated. The radios, the town planner, buckets, generator, we're working on the specs for that to hopefully have it out for bid soon. Social worker, we haven't done anything with. Open go, we've gotten, and the rest we haven't allocated yet. So,
Has the school gone ahead with their pavilion? They were,
the school already has the pavilion. But the
the
pavilion.
new one, right?
Yeah, they already got that. Their estimated cost for their pavilion was more than the rec wanted to spend on that. So, as far as the recreation funds, we were gonna allocate $50,000 for them, and then the pavilion that they're still hoping to do. So I met with the rec commission to go over a plan with them to use their $50,000 Constitution Field money to fund someone to come in and do a plan for the Constitution Field. So the plan would include all the rec property, which would be like the gazebo, pavilion, walking track, Constitution Field, and also a plan for the old garage to turn it into public bathrooms and storage and possibly office space for the rec commission. So they like the idea, and we put the RFP out for the qualified person to do a plan for that. Because this will help us in the long run too for grant funding. Once we have a plan, we'll be able to pick sections of it for funding. We also, part of the plan, once we have the planning person in place, will be a public hearing to get public input on the park, like what we might want to see. I know some of the things the rec has talked about has been like redoing the ball field, playground equipment, the pavilion. We just want to have it all laid out right and always for the future. So that's where once we get the RFP, we'll know more about how much that's going to cost for the planner. So that's what they want to use their $50,000 for. And then at the last meeting, or previous meetings, we got the ARPA fund request from the library. I mean, not the library, the Baptist church for their well. So we said we would look through our funds and see if we could move anything or do anything. We had 50,000 set aside for the social worker, and I don't know if we really need to do the social worker. I don't know what you
I'm with you on that.
Okay. I did feel a need before, but we've been doing more with our elderly services, and that's been filling some of the gaps there. So I don't really think that we need to do that, but we'd already allocated the money for it, so.
We can change our
We can
allocation.
change it if you guys.
More to the point, $50,000 covers service on for a year, and that's money gone.
Right, we would have to go in the budget.
Raise people's expectations and.
Then we have to add it to the budget.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Whereas,
when you put it into a capital project and put in Brussels sprouts and
Right, and
Win-win.
right, and it's not just in terms of helping the town and the community. The Baptist Church is one of our emergency shelters. So, yeah, I see that as.
So I don't know if we want to allocate, I don't have something in front of me, I think
Reallocate.
reallocate.
I'll make it simple. I make a motion that we reallocate the $50,000 for the social worker to the Baptist Church well upgrade. But it's,
You don't know.
So do we just want to allocate 20 grand for it now, or do we want to allocate a whole 50 grand?
It's another whole song. Under.
so that way it's covered and then we can figure
Have
out.
they sent in a plan of how much it's gonna cost?
They don't really know the full cost yet because it's all different jobs. Because some of it requires like electrical, some of it requires.
So when they do that, is it gonna be us, monitoring the whole thing? Like we're doing
We're
in
probably
fire
gonna-
department?
We're probably gonna have to, I have to talk to, some about that too.
So I would say maybe we're in such a way up to this amount, not say here you go, you get the full amount. Up to. So, you know, total cost of project up to the number.
So how about for now, we merely state that we're going to reallocate the money that is currently targeted towards a social worker, and we'll use some of that money for the Baptist Church as soon as they can get us estimates. Up to 50,000. Okay. First and seconded.
Any more discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So it's approved to reallocate the social worker, the money that we had previously allocated for a social worker, which is 50,000, that we, agreed to allocate up to 50,000, for the project at the Baptist Church to replace their well, since we use them as a backup shelter,
For emergencies,
Yeah, for
it's Sandy, Irene,
and the school uses them as their
the week that we were out in 2020, there's 3 full weeks the town is down in the past 10 years. And I know the Baptist Church was used heavily during all 3 of those weeks.
Yeah.
Whether it was for
The school uses them for.
cold, or if it was people who were working remotely before that was a thing, using internet there. So,
And that would be evacuation shelter for the school too.
Yeah, they have a backup generator.
I think they did.
they do not currently have a backup generator, but they are part of the grid that is town center, which almost never goes down. So in those 3 weeks that I just described over the past 10 years, they've had power.
I was just thinking in terms of that ice storm that did the Western State, 7 years ago, with that power. A couple of weeks ago, my brother was trying to get gas, so we should have the same problem on 2000.
Yeah.
Lost power. They were going to be moving some shelter.
They still run power.
Yeah, they usually.
Yeah. It's like, it's from, basically from town hall to the Baptist church. Is, has had less than a week of outage in the past 15 years. So, I get it. So I don't think the cost justification is there for them to go with a generator. Not speaking to them, but I don't think that they would want to do that. And in an unusual circumstance where that happened, I think we would then figure something out and get power to there. It was worth discussing.
It might actually be as simple as electrician, maybe the box.
Oh, transfer switch, so
Yeah,
it
transfer
goes.
switch, yeah, I mean, they don't have to invest $10,000 to do a generator.
because it would be,
They're gonna do the electrical work for the well. Do it all in one time.
add another $2,000 to add the transfer switch rather than $10,000 for a standalone job.
Yeah, well, actually, they're cheaper now, the one that's on my house, he's building by the Home Depot, and, utility companies that install it. What happens is, when the power goes out, it automatically switches off. You just plug a generator right into it, it costs $100. And it simply goes on, you take the bubble off meter, this device goes on, and then the meter goes back on top of that. It's simple as just going to get 5,000 watt generator on. Well, you're thinking of the emergency shelter.
Yeah.
And figure out how to get things out.
Yeah.
So that was for the church, talked about we're still working on the radio. I met with the fire department, at the beginning of the month, and they're ready to, move on. They have $200,000 that we set aside for public safety. When John and I, the planner, we're working on finishing up a couple of things right now. When we're done with that, we're gonna start, work with the fire department on an RFP for projects that they want to do with their money. So,
Yeah, because they don't have really bunkhouse capability.
their main things right now are the bunkhouses and their drainage. There's drainage issues over there, and they don't have a system set up where they can wash their vehicles with the drainage being in place at the garage. So, yeah, they need to have all the oil water separator and everything to wash their stuff. So that's something they was not about. So there's a whole bunch of things that they have that they need to get plans for. Same as for the field. We have all these plans and there's a lot of federal. There is a big federal grant that goes out, I think every year, that like Joe Courtney would have to push for us to get. So a lot of those go to fire departments and that cover the whole cost of the project too. So we have plans and something ready to show for that. So those are the ARPA funds there.
ECOG. Number 10, on the offer funds.
Oh, yeah, we already do that. That's our admin person right now. To help us make sure we're complying with all the federal reporting and everything.
And then the miscellaneous.
That's just contingency, if costs overrun.
Ordinances, there's no changes. Wiley School electrical work, most of the work's been started and it's almost done. I need to check in on them. There's hanging lights in there, that you can see the old wire through them. And they need the wire replaced really bad, so we either needed to decide if we wanted to replace the lights completely or just replace the wires. I talked to the historical society and they wanted to replace the wires, so I had to get back to the electrician with that and he's gonna work on that and I just have to touch base and see where he is. But that's ongoing. I've heard nothing on Title VI coordinator. I'm almost the Title VI coordinator involved the like writing of the Title VI plan, which I'm almost done with. And I was telling Julie and Jim earlier that this just made more plans to write because in the Title VI plan, you have to have incorporate Title VI training to your employees. So you have to have a schedule of to show that they're being trained in this. And Title VI is just make sure that you're not discriminating on anyone. That's based on race, sex, language.
Country of origin,
yeah. So, that and the other one. Oh, a new hire orientation plan, like, so when people are newly hired.
So how close are we to the threshold of having to create a new position for the town for HR director?
We were talking about that too.
Honestly, I was just looking at, there's another program,
Okay, because that's
I
what
don't know
you
how
just
much-
described is, you know, what
I
an
don't know
HR
how much
director
it
does.
costs, but there is a program or company out there that you can kind of outsource this software, basically that does it all. Does exactly all of this, it does the training, keeps track of the training.
So rather than a
money,
person, it's a
training.
service.
Yeah.
That's probably a benefit for our size, rather than another.
Yeah, so I'm like, I'm almost done with the Title VI plan, but then we have all these other things to do.
And what, these are exactly the same things that going over 50 employees requires you have all these things.
Yeah.
So I think it's really all HR procedures. And this software will do all the policies for you, keep track of the trainings, who needs trainings, and it's integrated with payroll type things, so it's kind of,
Some of the software.
yeah, well,
So we should just be able to find out more information on that. So we got it.
so right now I'm trying to administer all of it, which is, yeah.
And I'm trying to write a plan. So, which took a really long time for the Title VI plan. Almost done. I just have to check. I think I have most of it done, I just have to check, because we have to get the Title VI plan because of the transportation funding we're receiving for the elderly transportation. It's required that you have the plan. So I'm almost done, I just copied it from another town and tweaked it to us. But I have to make sure everything that's in it is what's required, so I'm going through the grant application, and then I gotta look up the federal law and see what's required. Hopefully I'll have it for the next meeting. And then we can pick a Title VI for it.
Nominate Skip Bolton.
What?
Nominate Skip Bolton.
I do not second.
Progress with grants, where we're trying to close out the Forge Hill Steep grant. We have to have it closed out to get the next round of grant funding. And we're working with someone from the Department of Transportation, Department of Transportation, that was, because that's what our grant's under. And he said his their office, Peter Rivera, he's a project engineer for DOT. They're reaching out to the federal local bridge program and OPM to make sure that we're transitioning from the steep grant to the federal local bridge, and then we'll close that. The steep grant applications are due August 16th. So I'm hoping they figure this out before August 16th, so that we're not flagged when we apply. So that's the old steep grant. The new steep grant that we're applying for, we're originally going to apply, it's for maximum $500,000 for the grant. We're originally going to apply to we have a couple of roads in town that don't have a lot of people that live on them, but they're very big, expensive roads, and they're mostly surrounded by state forests, so we thought the steep grant would be a good way to apply for it, because the state is covering their part of the roads. So we were looking at Kinney Road, and the more we looked at Kinney Road, the more we realized how expensive this road actually can be, and it's going to be more than $500,000, probably by double. Yeah, double. It has a lot of old drains on it that need to be replaced. So we decided to not do that with a steep grant. So our next idea was to use, what do we call it, municipal renovations. So that would be for everything we need to do for the town hall, including the pipes, the mold remediation, the bricks, getting all the old stuff, the old heating units out. fixing the sidewalks out here. Just people, so we know that the entrance there, just redoing all the sidewalks, and then talking to Emily, they have the heating, the oil tank is over there. So to get the oil tank out and redo all of the front here with a meeting area in the middle. So like an outdoor meeting area.
So a pavilion covering the center
Yeah.
section, right?
So it'd be like a, with tables.
Like power and light for outside Friday.
Charging for chargers. I think it came to like $400,000. And it, even to like take the roads out and just put flooring down.
This is part of the mold problem.
LVP with a nice padding under it.
So we'll see if John's been working on it. I'll talk to him more about it tomorrow, but we're, it's going to be submitted next week. So that's the steep grant. Anything else we're working on? All the grants. Formation of the municipal fund.
That is gonna have to get kicked until September.
Okay, that's fine. All right.
Just haven't had the time to work on it with summer camp next week with the scouts. I was in DC a month and a half ago, so. Sorry, scouts.
Okay.
That's my excuse. Hold on, wait. How long does the Title VI take? I'm kidding.
He's like, what's that? Like, it's only been on the agenda for like 6 months now. I don't know.
Meeting house RFP.
All right, so the meeting house RFP, that's the request for a proposal that we put out for the sale of the building. That's due on when? Tomorrow.
It's tomorrow,
Yeah.
tomorrow the 10th.
Thursday. Thursday the 11th. To be 11th.
Thursday.
Yeah, I gotta say tomorrow. Thursday the 11th at 1 o'clock. So we will see if we get any proposals turned in at 1.
Have we gotten any early submissions?
No. So we don't know what's gonna happen. So that being said,
So do you want to make a prediction or shall I?
well, so if we have no proposals, then we are gonna have an RFP ready to go out for the demolition of the building. To go out like the same day or the next day. So regardless of if we get someone to buy it or we have to pay to take it down, we're gonna have to schedule a town meeting because if someone wants to buy it, it has to be approved by the town and the town's gonna have to approve the money to tear it down.
Is it, if someone wants to buy it, is it because it's town property?
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
So the town has to approve the sale. So either way, we have to have a town meeting, so I guess we can just plan now to schedule a town meeting.
One way or another.
Yeah,
Can we schedule the town meeting where it's not, where the agenda is not defined?
well, this is where the timeline gets crazy, because it does have to be assigned. So what we have, we were trying to get this done quickly just because I'm afraid of the hurricane in December. So I want to.
So has anyone looked out the front door since the torrential rain just came through and is it still standing?
So my point of moving really fast is just for safety reasons.
No, I agree.
So if I'm moving too fast,
Call the meeting, see, final disposition of the meeting house.
well, I think we have to be more,
If it's appropriated money, you have to put it
it has to be to appropriate. So this is the plan. So if we we'll have to have a special board of selectmen meeting on August 18th, which is next Thursday, I think,
Okay,
for the call of the meeting. Because on that date, we'll know if it's gonna be for sale or for demolition. Because on the 11th, we'll know if we have any sales.
okay. Do you want to make that a daytime or an evening?
We can do it whenever.
I'm at camp, but if I can be here, I'll be here, otherwise I will call it.
Okay.
So,
What time's best for you at camp?
anytime.
6 a.m.
Anytime after 1 PM, because I've got the kids off the program after lunch again, so that's normally when I have some slack time. So,
remember if I have meetings that day or not, 'cause I did. So,
if you want to schedule it early in the day, Jim, if you could support that, I mean, I can dial in. I
no,
won't.
we can do it after
You want me to
lunch.
look at this?
Yeah, or we can, just plan for that day and we can go back and forth on our time in conversation.
That's
How
fine.
many times I would say 1 o'clock?
Okay.
Okay. So we'll say tentatively one for a special board of selectmen meeting, and that will be to schedule the public hearing and the meeting hall. We can do it the same day.
Yep.
And I was looking at the, August 30th at 7.
Because
for
it's 5 working days, right?
Yeah,
So that would be the following Friday,
yeah,
30th,
the third,
Tuesday.
You have stuff written in your office.
18th.
So you have to be gone by 2.
yeah, I have to leave that there.
Okay, but there should be a 5-minute meeting.
Yeah.
In even.
August 30th.
7. I just have to see if we can do it. I'm gonna see if we can do it at the firehouse because it's the day before school starts and they'll probably tell me So I will, see if we can use the fire out. I don't think there'll be a lot of people that
I would suggest, just to make their life a little bit easier, get this result, that maybe we don't have once a week, and
Okay.
because there's still going to be a crowd in town that everybody got the $1 million beams in that building. And
I talked to a, salvage company. They will come, but once we have a demolition date set, if it comes to demolition, they will come before that and help with, salvage stuff. So we still have that. There's,
$1 million beans.
yeah. And
We get a nickel for 'em. That's ahead.
we also have to do, if it comes down to demolition, I was just talking to Pete because we have to get a demo license. Through planning and zoning, so I have to send a letter, registered mail to all the budding property owners, letting them know that we're,
clean their house.
letting them know that we're doing demolition.
Park your rats for the day.
I have to let the utilities know to make sure there's no power. We have to do the environmental study, and we have to have the insurance. Things will move fast after Thursday.
There's nothing specific on your schedule.
Okay,
Timeline.
Yeah, so we can schedule it for like 1:30 or 1 o'clock.
For that day, the 18th, next day. Yep.
When the demolition happens, or we contact the transportation.
We might have to, I think when we get the, RFPs back for the demolition, we'll know, once we know the plans for the demolition. I think we would have to let them know if there's gonna be any traffic problem.
Only if it impacts Main Street or if it only impacts Church Street?
I think it would impact Main Street more because I don't know why it's Church Street address, because it's not really on Church Street. Mostly on Main Street. But I guess it's not church, so that's Church Street.
The church is going to buy it, everyone's going to like, why is this called Church Street?
Someone asked, Devin's part, please.
Yeah. So, that's,
And of course, what's happening on weekday at schools.
all right, procurement policy, we haven't really done anything with that yet, so, did you get a copy of that? Does everyone have a copy of that?
Yeah, Julia.
So,
Yes.
so we'll keep that there. We had other things to add to that, so we gotta go back
And then one of them, we should continue to add to this whole business list as they get book stuff. The fun time.
Yeah.
I'd say this, setting this in the morning.
Yeah, I got the memo for the state of Connecticut then. So I went to talk to them before I talked about it, and I don't know what it was. That's when I got it. Yeah. It was like right.
Send out the door, yeah.
Julie handed it to me and she's like, go, you need to talk to Tony about this. And then the power went out.
And Tony was
Tony
gone.
was gone. It was like the escape.
Well, this is a participating employee reviewing their business plan, so to get on the plan to be.
Are we still trying to have them make a pitch to the school? See if we can get the school in on this as well, or is this just gonna be town?
That was a separate thing.
Yeah, I think
It's going to the state for 57 plan, not the equitable for 57. We're gonna have a school and the equitable.
No, I thought we were gonna try and get,
No, we're trying
No,
to,
we're trying to.
trying to get the school in with it, but
right, because that will decrease our cost.
That was with equitable.
that was with equitable, with the state, the cotton.
It's a flat rate, no matter how
2
many.
basis points, 0.02%.
So we can go ahead and do it and then work on the school later saying, hey, this is probably a better deal. Why don't you look at it? Yeah. Just to be nice.
And if they don't want to do it, we're all fine and well. Right, that doesn't change our price at all.
Okay.
A better deal for the state.
You have the state grant resolution.
What does the acronym stand for?
Small town economic
Assistance program.
program. Small town economic assistance program. That's why I jumped ahead of that.
You did, and you already covered the public hearing town meeting for the
Yeah.
meeting house.
So it should be in the resolution. All right, the Robbins Cemetery plot. So we talked at the last meeting about how the town back.
The town
were you on the
owns-
board when we did
Yes,
this?
yes,
Right, we didn't make a motion, we just talked about it.
correct.
So we need to make a motion
The fact that the town owns,
That
what,
the
6
town-
or 8 plots.
that the town, we have to make a motion that the town is forfeiting those plots to the Robbins Cemetery Association.
Did we want to forfeit them all, or did we want to keep 2 in
No, we
case you
don't
need
want
to
to keep
do,
any.
in case you need to do your special job?
No, I'm good. I don't need any brave stuff.
Because you know about the special job of the selectmen.
For town use, because I can bring.
So the selectman is legally authorized to transport indigent bodies
In my car.
in her car to a funeral home or cemetery.
Yeah.
So if someone dies,
Well, now we know who to call.
yeah, so I was like, when we discussed, I was like, we gotta keep at least one. Out of the 6 or 8 that we own, we gotta keep one, just in case. You know, Tracy has to transport a dead body in her car to the cemetery.
In my Kia.
There's that movie where the guy was dead.
We can at Bernie's. Just put him in the passenger seat, put a pair of Ray-Bans on him, cops won't stop you.
So we just need a motion that we're gonna forfeit, the town-owned cemetery plots.
I make a motion that we forfeit all town-owned
Yeah.
Robbins Cemetery plots to the Robbins Cemetery Association.
And so the motion's been made and seconded to forfeit all of the town-owned cemetery plots in Robbins Cemetery to the Robbins Cemetery Association. Any more discussion?
As far as we know, we don't own any other cemetery plots at the other 14 cemeteries in town. So-
That's all.
That's the only one, so.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, hearing none, there's the cemetery. Okay, because I wrote them a letter, then they came back and they're like, we might need to know the date at the meeting. I'm like, I know, but we gotta find, I don't think we ever voted on it, we talked about it.
Yeah.
So now we have a vote and I'll send them the date, meeting date and everything, so they'll have it on their record.
Yeah, because that was the same meeting where we talked about there are 2 different funds for maintaining
Yeah, we
a
have the cemetery.
specific plot and another one, and one of them's more than 100 years old and still not in the account. So just one of those little historical, interesting quirks. So,
Got from the welfare days.
Yeah.
Still have all these little accounts going. couldn't get Richie to turn over.
I know, they had 67 passwords.
Yeah, he's like, nope, not doing it. What do you say there?
0.05%.
Yeah. All right, so the
But
next.
even that, over 100 years, is gonna be something.
$50. All right, so we have a steep grant resolution. So this other stuff you gave me is have to sign, right?
Yeah.
Office of the Selectmen, municipal certification of resolution C 2022. Be it resolved that first selectman Tracy Hansen be and hereby is authorized to accept on behalf of the town of Allentown 2022 Connecticut Steep Grant in the amount of $375,000 for the Allentown Municipal Complex improvements, and further resolve that first selectman Tracy Hansen is hereby authorized to enter into and execute any and all agreements, contracts, and documents necessary to obtain the said 2022 steep grant with the state of Connecticut.
Second.
So the motion's been made by Jim and seconded by Skip to approve the municipal certificate of resolution for 2022. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, hearing none, the resolution is done.
So when I first read that, I got a little excited because I thought, you had mentioned it, you had discussed it earlier, everything that included in that, but not with those specific words. And so I kept thinking about the thing that's been on our capital improvement plan. You know, we're going to put 10 grand away for
Oh,
the
like
next
a whole
50 years to
municipal
build
project.
a giant 3-story complex on this footprint for town hall, the library, the rec commission, all the various offices, and so.
No,
Like, oh, wait, is this what I think it is?
This is a cheaper version to fix.
This is fix the stuff that's broken and
Yeah.
add a nice covered area in the
Yeah.
middle.
Can add a meeting space outside that can be used for the town and the library.
It's not too hot.
Degrees outside.
It hit 97 today, so.
All right, I think that's all I have.
I make a motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.